You know, lately a nigga been fighting a whole lot of demons. A lot of shit we do gonna have consequences, but we gotta be ready for them. Emergency, I just got out of surgery. I'm having problems with my heart and it won't work for me. I did some shit in my past and it's cursing me. I'ma stay right here before these thoughts is gonna take breath from me. I'm sipping this hand and eat this pain, but it ain't helping.
My little nigga going against the grain and that's just stressing me.
I pray to God, let God have mercy. I'm living a crazy life. I just shot at a nigga for talking some shit on the gang, he paid the price. I was young in the rush for the money, my hunger for paper saved my life. And I should get saved tonight. If you wanna lick shit, we can get rich quick, we can get paid tonight. Nigga. Dollar bill, y'all. Everybody want the money, everybody want this shit.
Everybody want the money, but don't wanna go down.
You do anything to get it, but where you gonna go after? Shit, gotta think about it. 187. Murder for hire. You killed a nigga, you don't know if you gon' go to heaven. Gotta chop that shit over, real talk. Hey, fight my demons, fight my demons. So many demons. Me against these demons. Against these demons. Fight my demons, fight my demons.
Fighting mine.
It's me against these demons. Me against these demons.
Whoa! I'm fighting these demons up in this ghost. I'm fighting these demons.
I'm on the ropes, they came with a beam up under my coat. Get hit in the spleen if you want to smoke.
That money be green. I'm looking so clean. Remember they laughed at me. Gave him the ball.
I stand on my word and stand by the consequence. They say I'm heartless, thanks for the compliment. I sing it dead, homie, yelling company. VMG gang, you bitch for incompetent. Don't wanna hear that shit, I gotta kill that shit. Lethally militant, I can't get ignorant. We not considerate, niggas do silly shit. We get the drilling shit, guilty and innocent.
Don't give a fuck about bystander.
I can pull up in the
Atlanta. Don't take no slander.
Don't take no slander. Dollar bill, y'all. Everybody want the money, everybody want this shit.
Everybody want the money, but don't wanna go down.
Do anything to get it, but where you gonna go after? Gotta think about it.
187.
Murder for hire.
You killed that nigga.
You gon' go to heaven. Gotta chop that shit over, real talk. Hey,
Fight my demons.
fight my demons.
So many demons.
Me against these demons. Against these demons.
Fight my demons. Fight my demons. Fighting mine.
It's me against these demons. Me against these demons. Living life in case tonight.
Fight my demons. YouTube, what is going on with you? Well, I hope everyone is doing great out there. I hope all is well. You know, apparently in these YouTube streets, people always perceive things how they want to perceive things. And then you have to come and say what you meant by those things after people perceive them how they want to perceive them. So apparently in the last live, some people wanted to paint certain narratives about things that I was saying, so on and so forth. So let's clear these things up. One, when I say someone doesn't see me, it doesn't mean they're not a part of the collective, right? Just like if I say, Shar doesn't speak for me, or if I say, Sandra Love doesn't speak for me, right? It doesn't mean they're not part of the collective, right? It just means that we all are individual thinkers, therefore we are individual speakers. So none of us can speak for collectively, family, Atlas Network, so on and so forth. But in no one can speak for one said person. Just like I wouldn't go out there trying to speak for someone else. I might speak up for someone else to try to give them support, but I cannot speak for them, right? And then there was a bunch of other stuff, uh, and people took it the way, but that's neither here nor there. You can't really do anything about that. But generally, like I was stating, you know, certain people, real life was affected, and that's okay. We all moved on with positivity. We want to speak about the positive things. We don't know why YouTube or anyone on YouTube keeps on trying to talk about things that was already debunked, things that was already proved to be false, right? So in my experience, you have to start looking at why would someone tries to keep putting the false out there when the truth is right in your face. Now you have to ask yourself, why would people want to put a false out there when the truth is right there, right? Now, we're moving forward with positivity, right? We got a lot of stuff going on out here, and we are looking for vendors. We are looking for people that want to invest, people that want to, make this place a greater place, and so on and so forth. We understand that certain collectives are focused on negativity, but we cannot stay focused on that. We, the Atlas family, we, the collective, we choose to move forward with positivity and unity. Okay? If you're with us, you're with us. Hit the thumbs up button. You guys know how to hit the thumbs up button, right? But trying to bring up stuff that took place a year ago, when we stopped talking about it, trying to reinvigorate this now, it only goes to show that you guys don't want to see the truth, right? So when someone reveals the truth to y'all and y'all don't want to see it, you know what I mean? This is what you go through when you show people the truth and people don't want to see it. When you show people that you're doing great things in the world, that you're trying to unify and bring like stay out of the chaos, so on and so forth, right? You trying to help people stay out of the chaos and point out the chaos so they can avoid it. It's like they'll start putting more traps in your way. They'll start putting more obstacles your way. Like, oh, it's like a challenge to them. They start thinking like, oh, okay, let's see if you can dodge this and dodge that. And it's like that wasn't part of the, you know what I mean? Me trying to help you get out of the negative vibrational frequency and you putting obstacles in my way to try to, pull me into it. If I'm pointing out the chaos, trying to keep people out of the chaos, why would people try to pull me into the chaos? And I'm doing that same thing in the physical world by creating places that people can go, relax, get back in touch with nature, do foraging, you know, meditations, so on and so forth. So if you see somebody moving forward with positivity, see a lot of these, content creators are characters. They created a character for you guys to fall in like with. And now they can't get out of those characters that they created. So when you have a situation where someone is being authentically them, the characters are going to try to tear down authenticity because they don't want you to see that. They want you to see characters that are pretending to be of what it is, you know? But that's the entertainment world. A lot of these people do things for entertainment purposes. But we move forward, man. You know, we move forward. Hey, let y'all light shine. You know, let that light shine. If you ever need me, just call. I'ma come running, give it my all. Love is love. God wins. Keep your vibrations high. Watch how your blessings pour in. We are a loving family. Built on love, our vibrations are high. We're all the way up. We are a loving family. Built on love, our vibrations are high. We're all we are the Alice family. 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 We are a loving family. Built on love, our vibrations way up. We are a loving family. Love, our vibrations are high. We're all the way up. We are a loving family. Built on love, our vibrations are high. We're all the way up. We are a loving family. Built on love, our vibrations are high. We're all the way up. We are the Abbas family. We are the Abbas family. We are the Abbas family. Yeah, you know, but there's so much, going on in this verse, going on in this world, so much knowledge to be told, so much knowledge to be obtained, so much wisdom, to be sought out. Like, I think we owe it to each other to try to be. I think we owe it to each other to try to, a lot of people keep on doing this whole trauma thing. And now it's like entertaining, it's entertainment. I seen someone like do a whole fake hit of someone being locked up. And that just tells me like how ridiculously cruel, this world has become. Because, there was a time where people said, don't even, there was a time where people said, don't make fun of kids because you have kids and your kids might turn out like that. There was a time where we had a better sense of moral compass, decorum, dignity, towards each other, towards humanity, right? Cars came in, sneakers came in, jewelry came in, and we just stopped caring about each other, you know? Um, houses came in, all of this stuff came in, and we just stopped caring about each other, you know? And my whole thing is we get back to recognizing or caring about each other. When do we, put the whole feelings and emotions to the side? When do you stop caring, how somebody said something to you, right? Was that person honest with you? Was that person truthful with you? We got so caught up with feelings and emotions and how somebody said something and how they delivered it and how they said it. And now we can't think logically because all we can do is think through feelings and emotions. Well, I don't like the way you said it. Well, I'm sorry if my mind is not triangulated to fit and appease feelings and emotions. I'm sorry if I just have a straightforward way of saying things. I'm sorry if I don't like doing that whole beat around the bush. People always say put a name on it, but then when you put a name on it, people feel a certain. People always say, say what you mean, but then when you mean, people always feel a certain type of way. So, at some point, we collectively are going to have to get out of our feelings and emotions, start respecting each other, as humans. You can't keep on, you know, getting the respect you are asking for, but not giving the same respect that other people are asking for. You can't keep going around doing what you want to do, like it's your prerogative, but then holding people to certain variations of things that they want to do, right? Street, when you find that, level of respect for each other, when you find that level of respect towards, humanity, and you'll start treating people in that same manner. It's not just, this self-centered way of thinking to where as though it's more so about that one persona. And maybe like I got pushed into a collective mind before I even had a collective to mind. Maybe I got put in a collective mind or a collective way of thinking before I even had a collective to think for, you know? And now I'm sitting here in a universal collective state of being, trying to get other people to unify and gather and collect. Like, but I wasn't a fan favorite. I was in group homes, you know? I was in 8 different group homes, 3 different foster homes. So I've literally been a loner my whole life. That's why I'm comfortable with being by myself. It's not that I don't do well around others. I mean, shit, I thrive around others. In fact, people get jealous of how, people start, looking at me and they're like, damn, he's kind of cool. Like, damn, people start, you know, getting jealous about that. Like, man, so I just became comfortable being alone, you know? You got so much secret competition out there. Everybody's trying to compete with the next person. Women trying to compete with women. Adults trying to compete with children. Children trying to compete with adults. I know when I'm, by myself, there's no, I'm kind of trying to compete with myself day in and day out. I'm trying to be better than the person I was yesterday, but only half as good as the person I'm going to be tomorrow. So it's like, you watch people that's going through this whole, he think he this and he think he that and she thinks she this and she thinks she that. And it's like, that's one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. These people are supposed to think highly of their self. Now, whether they humble themselves to that is completely different. But esteem, you're supposed to think great of yourself, you know? So I don't blame anybody that's out there thinking great of their self beyond anything else, reality's trying to put on them, you know? Even in the knowledge category, I don't claim to know it all. I might know a lot, but I don't claim to know it all. I'm always, fascinated about being around other people that has, the same ability to have an open mind, think outside their self. The problem is, it's far and few. It's far and few. A lot of people in this world, though they pretend like they care about other people, they really are like opportunists. They really just trying to find a way to see how it can benefit them. I'm looking for a collective that really want to just do for the greater good of humanity, that want to stop, worried about their self and more image and worried about the collective. You watch my image get tore down on YouTube, and I still just cared about other people, you know? In fact, the same people that tore my image down, I still look out for. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Maggie played a great part in tearing my image down, right? Doing interviews with all these people in the Discord that was sent there by Murph and the Atlas Network. All these people in the Discord that was sent there by Murph and the Atlas Network. Some was sent by the Knot, some was sent by Jaguar. All of them in the Discord trying to get close to you, trying to pretend like they cool, all so they can try to create a certain narrative about you later. See, right now, I was actually supposed to be out the way, right? When they set up that whole Freeman situation, that was supposed to put me out the way, right? You got people like Donat, texting my phone saying that he hope I unalive on that hill, wishing death on me, right? Those text messages, I got those text messages, you know? You got people like Danny Robinson, you know, calling people that I'm trying to do business with, making up lies, telling them different things like that, you know? And that's why I say, like, manipulation and this whole, age of disinformation, this whole, Grand Rising, Namaste, Ashe, salutations, salam, peace. All these things, it doesn't work. We know what the true goal is. We know what unity is like. We know what pushing towards a golden age is going to consist of. We know it's going to be a lot of friction. We know people are going to go against spirituality. We know that they're going to test our spirituality-ness. They're going to put us in different variations of human simulations to see if we, participate in the activity. They're going to try to engage in anger. They're going to try to get you to rage. They're going to try to get you to say something towards them that is, hurtful or whatever the case may be, to put shame, guilt. These are all things that are in the root chakra, all things that fear consists of. When you rise above that, you will see a greater state of being. But that's why the Bible said we'll see a new heaven and then a new earth. That's why a lot of things said that we'll have to change on the inside before change will ever take place on the outside. That's why even the people who study and practice different variations of Aleister Crowley or the Baphomet, that's why they say as above, so below. But they will never say as without, so within, right? As without, so within was something that was taught by someone who they knew to have knowledge beyond their own understanding, right? Someone who knew that there was a universal system inside of us. The same way that there's a universe outside of us, someone was teaching about the universe that is inside of us. And all the symbols that are in the sky are also inside the vessel. Isn't it ironic that we have 12 strands of DNA, and inside those 12 strands, there's 12 more, right? It's considered to be the 12 you see, the 12 you don't see. So each strand has 12. 12 times 12 is 144. Wow. 12 times 12 is 144, right? This is where your chromosomes come in. There's supposed to be 144 active chromosomes if we're operating in all 12 strands of our DNA. Why do we have 12 strands of DNA, but only operate in 3 of those strands of DNA and only 23 chromosomes of the 3 strands of DNA that we operate in? Why is someone not teaching us how to access the remaining strands of DNA? Why do we not know how to access 144 chromosomes? Why do we not know that it's all connected when it says the 144 will awaken? It's fire codes in our DNA that's awakening. Some people are not handling these fire codes correctly. That's why they get put under certain people like handlers, Krishan Rock. She has someone that's handling her. She's listening to her chat. She's listening to the people around her. Jaguar Wright. She has a handler, All these people coming into a higher, notion of oneself. Why are we not studying these things? Why are we not looking into these things when it comes to the knowledge of this world? Why do people push away the knowledgeable people, especially in the Black community, right? In the Black community, we have a way of tearing down our knowledgeable selves. In the black community, every time we run across somebody that has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we start making a, oh, you got a book? What you reading that book for? Get out of here. Oh, yo, Jimmy, yo, come look at him. He want to be a bookworm, right? Always making fun of the one who want to learn and study and stuff like that. I don't know how I don't know how that became the norm for us. You know what I mean? And then when you look in, you know, and you look into different variations of study, like, oh, snap, everything is actually connected. Wow, this is amazing, right? People don't want to believe when you show them the connection to everything. And then I just keep on studying. I just keep on digging back into stuff. You know, that's all I do is keep on digging into stuff. More stuff leads to more stuff. So right here, we're in a time of spirituality. We're in a time of no. We're in the Aquarius, right? The age of Aquarius. This is where we're at right now, right? There's so much stuff to be taught and learned is to understand like why people don't want to grasp this knowledge. You know, we have to get into the Great Awakening map, right? We have yet to break this down to people. I want to get into this and break this down. How our, look, past life knowledge, astro travel, channeling, lucid dreaming, light orbs, great solar flash, all of this is happening right now. Get back into meditation. All of this is happening right now. Third eye, pineal gland, chakra, yoga. That's what this is all about. You know, I'm literally like moving in the spirit, trying to put together a physical place that people can come to get back into the balance inside oneself, equally, right? Get back into nature, understanding the chakra systems, why it's good to fast, why it's good to meditate, right? Ancestors, the etheric energy that's around us, that's in the air, right? You see them coming out with different notions of information when it comes to Atlantis and Lemuria, or what is known as Mu, right? You see them coming out with that, right? They're talking about this stuff, right? The problem is the people who this mainly pertains to, we keep on shunning this knowledge. The copper colored people, the copper skin, they don't want us to have this knowledge about the solar flares, how it's affecting our minds, so on and so forth, right? So they would rather make you think you're going crazy. They would rather think MK Ultra. They would rather make you think all of these other things, because some of us are actually going through the ascension process. Some of us are going through a process known as the ascension process. Let's put it like that, right? Not everybody go through this because it's not time for everybody to go through it, if that makes sense. Everybody's going through this in their own different variation of time. Everybody timelines is laid on top of each other, whatever you want to call it, dimensions on top of each other, however you want to look at it. So some people are coming into notion of this universal knowledge, this, wisdom. Some people are coming into the notion of this. Some people are having a hard time understanding it, right? All these things is connected. All of these symbols is connected. All of them is connected. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense to you. All of these symbols are connected because all of them are embedded into mankind, right? All of them are embedded. They use different variations of this to create religion in different, Buddhism. You see the hands of this, he's in this form right here, right? This is a mudra, right? You see what Egypt means to the body, right? It makes up certain variations of numbers of the body, right? You see what Allah means. Arm, arm, head is the 5-point star. You see with the 6-point star with the Ankh in the middle. The Ankh is a representation of life. The triangle going down is woman. The triangle going up is man, however you want to look at it. You see what God means, right? Generator, operator, or destroyer, right? You see what Islam means, right? I, self. I can't see it unless I zoomed in on it. You see what the Quran means, right? Knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, nature, right? You see what all of these things mean, right? Christ, I am Christ. This is where Kratos comes in at, right? There was a time where we knew how to feed the brain. Therefore, it created elongated skulls. If you go back to certain, Egyptian pyramids and stuff like that, you'll see like children with elongated skulls. If you go back to to the 90s when we used to watch movies, they came out with a movie called Conehead, right? Where they had this conscious connection where they was like making love to each other's minds and all of that stuff. And through that, even that form, that people became pregnant and so on and so forth because it was a conscious thing, right? And you go back to this, they're making movies about it. They're doing stuff like that. They're showing you that there was a cone head, group that they might have depicted it to be white people, because that's what they wanted to do at that time. But this is still real. This is real stuff. You know, you see what happened with those dolphins. Look it up. That man came out of Florida. He said that the dolphins kidnapped him, and the one dolphin, Gerald, was creating air bubbles for him to breathe down there, and they made him build cities. Right? He said that weeks ago. What just happened the other day? 45 dolphins end up unalived. What? What code did the dolphins break? What code did the dolphins break interacting with humans? Because how the hell did 45 dolphins end up unalived? Huh? And this brings me to my next topic, right? The settlement of Canaan, right? People keep on trying to figure out what is Mystery Babylon. When you read the book of Revelations, Revelation 17, 1 through 7 speaks about Mystery Babylon and it sits by, right? Now, when you get into the land of Canaan, you get into America. And people say, what do you mean? You don't get into America. Yes, you do. America is Mystery Babylon. They keep trying to show it to y'all, and y'all keep on ignoring it. They keep trying to show you that America is Mystery Babylon. You go, they'll tell you it's in China. You go to China, or China say, no, Egypt is not here. Egypt is in America, right? When you look at this map right here, right? There's no other continent shaped like this besides North America, right? When you look down here, this is Mexico. You can see the lettering, Indian, all this stuff, right? This is the shape of America. You look right here in the center of it, right? All of this, New York is probably over there somewhere, but this is the West Coast. You can see it. You can see that this is the West Coast. Before the California gold rush, before they moved all this dirt and put it down here and filled up San Francisco Bay or whatever you want to call it during like the transfer of the dirt out the mountains, all of that shit, right? They don't want to tell you this. They don't want to point this knowledge out, right? But let's look at it. If you don't believe me, here it is. Boom. What does that say at the top? What does that say at the top? Canaanites. And what does that say at the bottom? USA. Bingo, bango. You can go study this for yourself, you know. You see how easy that was? You see how easy that was to show you proof? Bow worshiping and brotherhood of the snakes. Bow worshiping includes Cleopatra, includes Julius Caesar, the trick of the and dates and times through Constantine, the brotherhood of the serpents, brotherhood of the snakes. It tells you about the Bible and the Hebrews and what it all meant and so on and so forth, and how the Second Council of Nicaea, 1872, came in, and this was the identity thieves, the blood orders, so on and so forth. It tells you down here that the Baphomet's plan is to put the world in one world order with 3 world wars. This is it. The Illuminati, Masons coming in, Jujitsuites coming in, so on and so forth, all the way up to, you know, Babylon and the pharaohs. This is the tale of 2 sides. So what's split down the middle, one side operated like this, one side operated like that. But they were both working the same. Come on now. Come on. It's time to put the truth out there now. Huh? Y'all want to stand in truth. Y'all want to keep, you know, acting like it's not a bunch of knowledge out here that I'm putting out. Y'all don't want to talk about the knowledge that I'm putting out over here on this page, but y'all keep on coming against my page to try to paint me a certain way. Is there a secret list that I don't know about? By me talking about chakra systems and all of this untold knowledge that people don't know about, is there a list that y'all put out when people start talking about this stuff? Did I make that list? I feel so honored that you guys keep on trying to attack my page, even though you know about the knowledge and wisdom that I'm putting out, even though you know about all of this stuff that I'm exposing. I feel honored that y'all keep coming against my page because of this. You know? I ain't even know I was on the list, but I made it. Huh? Huh? When you want to talk about Solomon and you know, the 72 demons of the soul of man, right? When you want to talk about the keys of Solomon, you see what the keys of Solomon is? Occult rituals and magic, exorcisms. You see what the keys of Solomon is, right? On the other side, kings of Jubilee, right? You see what it says. Sodom and Gomorrah, ancient nuclear war, right? This is the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis correlates to Sumerian mythology. You see what it says? Zachariah Stitchens wrote about Sumerian mythology, and it tells you right here, Genesis correlates Sumerian mythology. Do you see that? All right, so then you got to go back and study Zachariah Stitchens, Enki, and Lil, so on and so forth. This is what it's pointing to, right? You see it's mentioned in Nimrod, the Tower of Babel, rocket launchers, so on and so forth, right? The biblical Baal is Moloch, right? So Baal being one of the 72 demons of the soul of man, it's Moloch, right? This is pass thy seed through. See, pass thy seed. That word seed is talking about semen. It's talking about how we reincarnate, how we bring life into this world. It's all a manipulation. You see, El, early Canaanite supreme deity. See, this is what they don't want me to expose to you guys. This is what they don't want me to point out to you guys. That's why they already trying to, you know, attack the page, right? So on and so forth, right? You see it says, sin of the golden calf, right? Sin of the golden calf. You guys remember in the biblical text where they started worshiping the golden calf, right? And it tells you, right, it came from the tribe of Dan, right? A pagan tribe of the Antichrist. It tells you that. The people started worshiping cows because the cows gave them food and milk and so on and so forth. And right now, you know, this only took place in Sodom and Gomorrah. It was the sin of the golden calf, right? South America, North America, Sodom and Gomorrah, right? The sin of the golden calf, right? Sodomites, Gomorrahites, right? related to the body as, you know, you see the word. You know what this means when it's related to the body, right? What's happening in the world right now? Everybody want to sodomize somebody. Doing it in the butt. Doing it in the butt, right? You see this in the world. You see the knots in the world. Stop fucking playing. This is American people right here. The sodomites. You see them. Heavy. Heavy out here taking over the internet. Heavy out here trying to play in people's booty holes. Ray J's. Come on. You act like y'all don't see this going on right now in the world. But y'all keep getting mad at me for pointing it out. When it talks about the Tower of Babel, and you see us babbling on the internet, that can be the Tower of Babel reincarnated right now. We babbling a fight for words, so on and so forth. That's Babylon. Huh? How much more I gotta show y'all of why they really come against my page? They don't come against my page because I'm not doing nothing but spreading knowledge and wisdom. So how is this possible that so many people want to try to paint somebody out to be a certain way when all I do is speak about knowledge and wisdom and having a greater understanding for it, right? It says right here, right? The name's no longer by Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome. Jacob said, please tell me your name. But he replied, why do you ask my name? Then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Pioneer, right? Pioneer in your mind, right? You have your Pioneer in your brain, right? The place that he met God, he called the Pioneer, right? It's because I saw God's face to face, and yet my life was spared. He saw God face to face, yet his life was spared, and he named that place the Pioneer. So in his Pioneer, he saw God face to face, but he did not perish, right? The sun rose above him. This is biblical stuff right here of telling you where to seek God in the heavens of your mind, right? Then right here, it tells you, right? The voice of Israel's consciousness, right? Why they keep trying to deny us from having a conscious, if it literally says right here that Israel has a conscious, right? Not only that, it had a voice for the conscious of Israel. So you mean to tell me not only did Israel have a conscious, but it was also a voice of Israel's conscious? Come on now. Come on now. Why y'all acting like y'all don't see? Everybody trying to push this world, trying to make it seem like there's nothing inside of you that exists. No one has you ain't supposed to communicate inside yourself at all times. I would say pray with inside yourself at all times. Right? And this is going from the book that y'all created. Right? This is going that man created. Right? Tells you right here. Primitive Christians, the Essenes, fully realizing and taught that the truth of Christ, right? They taught the truth. They taught the truth that Christ was a substance, an oil or ointment contained, especially in the spinal cord, right? You see what it says? Consequently, in all parts of the body, of the nervous system, is in directly and indirectly contact with the wonderful river that flows out of Eden, the upper brain, right? To water the garden, right? The earliest Christian knew that the scriptures written in ancient Hebrew or in Greek were allegories and parables or fables based on the human body, right? So the earliest Christians, they knew that these stories was based on a human body, fearfully and wonderfully made. So they knew it was based on this. Okay. Um, Shoot. Grand Rising, Namaste. I say salutations, shalom, peace. So, sorry about that. I had to check something. I'm trying to take care of business and still, be here with you guys. So it says, uh, they knew that the secretion, gray matter creation, which issues secrets from the cerebellum as the source of cause of the physical expression of man. And they knew that the river of Jordan was symbolized in the spinal cord, and that the Dead Sea was used to symbolize the sacral plex, right? At the base of the spine, the column where the Jordan spinal cord, this is where the story is at, right? When it talks about the Dead Sea, and if you go back to the map of Egypt, if you look up the Egyptian map, it's not a map of the world, it's a map of your body. You get what I'm saying? If you go look back at old Egyptian maps, the ancient Egyptian map, it's a map of your body. And it shows you that Horus is at the spine where the Dead Sea is at. Because that's where, uh, Isis and Osiris bore Horus. And Horus is one of the gods at the lower part of the body. But just like we have maps of this world, damn, I don't have that one in this phone. Shit. But just like we have maps of this world, we have maps of the body. The Sumerians gave you a map of the body. Later, they depicted it into a tomb. All of the knowledge is there. All of it is there. When you get into this, all of that knowledge is there. O man of earth, watch well the steps. Find it. All of this stuff is right there. But see, they're not going to point this out the proper way. Why? Because later on, when Constantine came about, Constantine found a way to trick us with the text. When you get into it and it tells you that Earth, Apollyon, the devil, lives spelled backwards. Satan, Saturn governs the bowels, right? So this is why they keep on making you eat the things that you eat and keep on consuming the things that you're consuming. Right? Keep on consuming because for Saturn governs the bowels, etc. Right? Fire comes from the fact that brimstone is the prime factor in generating the rate of motion called heat, and overreacting develops a surplus of sulfur, right? So overreacting, right? So in the body, when people overreact, when people keep on getting you to do this chaotic crash out stuff like that, the overreaction, it creates sulfur in the body. It creates brimstone, right? This is where make a fire come in. You guys are creating this inside your vessel. Every time you overreact, every time you do the outrageous stuff, this is why, like, you know, you have to be at peace. Peace of mind bring forth a different reaction, right? During the first 300 years of Christianity era, all that has been above written was understood by the real Christians. And about the end of that time, the the predecessors of the Essenes by the priesthood became so marked that they met in secrecy and always made the sign of the fish. See, the sign of the fish. The reason why they always made the sign of the fish was because they were in the time of Pisces. Pisces is represented by what? A fish, right? So during the time of Pisces, they always, because Christ was also depicted to be a fish, and Christ was also depicted, Moses was also to be depicted to be, you know, a fish, and all of this other stuff. It goes back to this sign, right? Because that time that was in, that was the house they was under. See, we look at house and we think of these structures and buildings, but when the Bible talks about house, it's talking about the sign that we're under, right? So when it says, do not be afraid of that new house, it's about, do not be afraid of that new timeline, that new era, that new age, right? So we went from the time of Pisces and we moved into the time of Aquarius, right? We were not supposed to be afraid of that Aquarius time. It's an unknown time, but it's also a time of knowing, right? You'll hear more people say, I know in this time than I don't know or believe. You'll hear more people say, I know than I believe. In the time of Pisces, we was under a I believe mindset. In the time of Aquarius, we're under a I know mindset, right? Because almost technically we know all this stuff already. We just got to, we know all of it, right? All right. Constantine was told by the priesthood at the time that there was no forgiveness for the crimes such as his except through a long series of incarnations. And I encourage y'all to look up what incarnations is. All right. But the Antichrist sought to concoct a plan by which he hoped to cheat the cosmic laws. I encourage y'all to look up cosmic laws too, right? And so it came to pass after months of rigorous and fighting over the writings of the primitive Christians and the clothes and wonders of the human body and origin, imaginary and the council, sometimes by a mere majority, decided of the manuscripts were the word of God and which were not. And then I can't see the rest down there because y'all words are in the way. Let me see. Yeah, I can't see. Right? So once he concoct a plan to escape the cosmic laws, this is where the salvation comes in. So once he concoct a plan to escape the cosmic laws, Constantine came up with this idea of salvation, right? About the year 325, ironically, is the same time that the Council of Nicaea. About the year 325, Constantine, the pagan Roman emperor. Now, we know that pagans and Christians beefed at one point. So why would the pagan Roman emperor call the teachers of Christianity together, Nicaea, right? Constantine, who unalived his mother and boiled her in oil because they still held to the original doctrine of the Essenes, right? Constantine was told by the priesthood at the time that there was no forgiveness for crimes such as, except through a long series of incarnations, but the Antichrist sought to concoct a plan by which to hope to escape the cosmic law as soon as it and so it came to pass that after months of rigorous fighting over blah, 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 blah. And then this very important part right here, the very important point in mind, these are the priesthoods, whether or not angels had wings was decided in favor of wings by the majority. The majority contended that as Jacob let down his ladder for angels to descend and ascend upon, it was primary fact that evidence that angels do not have wings, right? Because Jacob's ladder was hill catcher. Jacob's ladder was our zodiacs coming full circle, each zodiac holding the heel of the next zodiac, right? That's what Jacob means, heel catcher in Hebrew, right? So each zodiac is holding the heel of the next zodiac, right? All the way to Hercules, which is the foot of Hercules, right? Which is a representation of the 13th zodiac. And this is why Ethiopia still has 13 months in their calendar right now, because the 13th month was considered to be soul. Christ is that 13th month of the zodiac, right? But they took that out. They used it as a martyrdom. This is where the whole salvation comes in. That's Constantine. Constantine tricked us into this idea of salvation, right? And it says right here, during the first 300 years of the Christian era, all has been above written was understood by the real Christians. And about the end of that time, the prosecution of these as sins by the priesthood because was or became so marked that they met in secrecy, right? They was unaliving those who practiced this real notion of Christ. In fact, if you look up the real story of St. Patrick's Day, you will see that it was a mass of a group of people that believed in the Kundalini. They believed in Kundalini rising and so on and so forth. They said, oh, they got rid of a bunch of snakes or serpents in Ireland. No, even if you look at King James ruled 3 different continents. The real King James, not the false history of King James that they put out there. The real King James was a black continents at the same time. Never has it been done for a king to rule 3 different continents at the same time. Yes, he was one of the only black people to rule Ireland. And the pushing out of the serpents of the Ireland that believed in the Kundalini. Hell, they got rid of a bunch of people that was left-handed at one point because it was determined that left-handed people had spiritual abilities or something of the nature. Everyone to write with the right hand. Here you go, right here. About the beginning of the 12th century, the plan was to revive, and this was the new 13th month was designated Soul. We don't have that in our calendar no more, right? Due to the fact that people wanted to etch their mark in history, Julius Augustus Caesar decided that he wanted to put in Julius Augustus Caesar. Well, that's where July and August came in. Right? And here's another good factor. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Right? John 1st chapter. W-O-R-D. This combination of letters does not mean in the first or origin sent voice, sound, or speech, physiologically speaking, right? It means a precious substance. Do you see that? That means W-O-R-D means a precious substance, right? That means that in the beginning was a precious substance, and the precious substance was with God, and the precious substance was God. That sounds a lot better than putting in Word. Okay, let's keep going. Therefore, as mankind must be placed on their feet physically before the same conditions can exist mentally or spiritually, we must get down to the fundamentals. Give the physiological meaning of W-O-R-D. The Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 letters, each letter having a concrete meaning. In the formation of the Hebrew characters, letters were chosen, which were combined, indicated plainly every phrase of the idea which they wish to express. Let us now take W-O-R-D, dissect it, and understand the meaning of each letter. There's no letter W in the Hebrew alphabet. There you go, right there. That's the mark of the beast that's in the word right there, that W. That W was never supposed to be there. That means it was only supposed to be O-R-D. That W was not supposed to be there. W was not a letter in the Hebrew alphabet. L was not a letter in the Hebrew alphabet. J was not a letter in the Hebrew alphabet, right? So here we are with the letter W. Let's see what the letter W means, right? Let's see what this W means. So it says that the W, which they use to designate our letter W, it's actually the letter which is a V V. It's a double V, right? It says, which also used in our modern French. It meaning hook. Like Captain Hook, Peter Pan? Oh, okay. Its meaning is hook, right? The arm and legs are the hooks of the body. So, V, then, or the double V, is the 18th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and the characters which they used to express the letter were writings, thus, Tau, Vadaya, almost unpronounceable. Yes, it is almost unpronounceable. These letters is also, as we write it in 18th, is the 18th alphabet. Its number is also a great significant. The Hebrew alphabet Teth, which is the equilibrium of the father and mother, perfect in the male and female, a negative force as manifested in the perfected or common, incomplete human being. So the 18th letter, Tau, is the double V and representation of 666, which is the fall of spirit down to the material world. This precious ointment coming down to the world to materialize in man. So this is where, God becomes man, or this precious ointment, which we know as God's son, becomes man. A lot of people say in the beginning, let us create, man in our image was, God and the son, all of this jazz that they tell you. But it tells you right here, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, right? Now, if you read that without that word and you put seed there, it says, in the beginning was the seed, and the seed was God, or the seed was with God, and the seed was God. If you take it and you put the precious substance there, then it says, in the beginning, the precious substance, and the precious substance was with God, and the precious substance was God, right? Which makes a lot more sense than what we know as the expression of language, which is word. Word is not the expression of language. In fact, in the Hebrew alphabet, the PHEW sound, like pew, like that was what they used as the expression of language, the expression of words. And in Hebrew, it actually started with a pew sound, like pew, like that was more so the beginning of a word, or not the beginning of a word, but how they used to express language or talking, whatever we want to call it, right? And that's why I say, knowledge is powerful, man. You got to get this knowledge. That's why, I talk about the story of Atlantis and the lost Lumeria. If you look right here, this is why Hawaii is underwater right now. This is Lumeria, or the land of Mu, right here. And then Atlantis is right here, which is Poseidon Island. You can look that up. And you see North America right here. And you see this underground trail that's going to Africa right here from Lumeria, right? So this is where that tunnel lies, and then this is one up here. But they can't get into this one, I don't think. They've been trying to get into the continent known as Atlantis, but they can't. I think they have a group of scientists that's looking to try to get into that place or something or another. And then, like I said, later on, we will get into, variations of breakdown of this when people are ready. I get it. Like everything ain't for everybody, and everybody can't just understand like as above, so below, as without, so within. So the same way we have frequencies and dimensions that go up, right? The duality of it is, and all of these things that go up, they're still connected to a duality that goes down. See, the duality that goes down only go to the 12th dimension, but when you go up, there's more chakras or dimensions linked to these chakras. When you go up, you get, you go past the 12. Christ was represented as the 12, and you go past that and you get into the 13th, 14th, 15th, right? This is Ki Rasha energy. You see that? Ki Rasha life force energy. So that's the 13th, 14th, 15th dimension, which is Ki Rasha life force energy, right? Primal light field. This is the universal knowledge that's coming in from the light. It's coming in through the light. And this is where Christ was at. Christ was at this point where he was gaining knowledge from the Ki Rasha life force energy. And he was trying to explain to the world that he was gaining knowledge from the Ki Rasha life force energy, primal light field. And they clowned him and shunned him and told him that there's no way that the sun is doing this. And they laughed at him and said, here's your crown, sun god, and so on and so forth, right? And now we're at that point again where we have to understand that there's dimensions of the minds and frequencies of the body that leads to untold verses of oneself where higher knowledge is that. And we can keep on traveling down to the lower halves, with the Okamicrons, Odesicrons, reptilians, and all those other beings. You can keep on going that way. All of you guys can believe that these Anu beings is what is, always was, and always will be. But as above, so below. So it has to exist above before it can exist below. That's duality of things. So all of these fallen angelic beings that got you praising them and making you think that they are the creator and creation and so on, they're not. They're not. It's a creator God, and then it's a bunch of gods who determined that they were going to rule and play God. And we got caught up with the ones that's playing God. We got caught up believing the ones that's playing God. And now we have to get out of that mindset of believing the ones who are playing God and start to understand what is God, right? You are your own God. Inside of yourself, there's a universe, and you have to master that universe. Outside of yourself, and then we get into spiritual lead lines and stuff like that all over this plane. So, what direction of knowledge do you want to go in? You know? You know? What level of knowledge are you determined to have? You know? What level of understanding come with? That's why, after all my studies and everything that I studied and looked up, that's why I just try to be at peace with one another. You know? Because there's a lot of depths. There's depths to it. There's a lot of depths to a lot of this. And that's why I say, like, I don't be trying to get into it with people. I don't be trying to, mind or go through any of that type of stuff and who's right, who's wrong down here, man. When you're having a human experience, the greatest thing you can do is, acknowledge that someone else is having an experience too. It might not be the experience that you're having, but acknowledge that they're going through their own human experience too. It might not consist of the same things or obstacles or problems that yours consist of. You know, they might have a whole different list of problems that they got to go through, a whole different list of obstacles. It's not to shun or take away their human existence or experience. A lot of people are running around trying to steal or manipulate other people's human experience, whether it be a journey for knowledge and wisdom or whatever. A lot of people want to fake that they're spiritual. A lot of people want to go around and fake that they're knowledgeable, fake that they're about this life, but they're not. This spiritual life, you got to let go a bunch of carnal bullshit that a lot of y'all will not let go. In this spiritual life, you got to let go a lot of the ego, and your ego will be attacked the most, right? In this spiritual life, you got to let go a lot of pride, and people value their pride. They will attack every sense of you, sexuality, everything. And that's why I said, like, I'm going to get out here and try to be a greater example of oneself. But as I step out and try to be a greater example of oneself, it also comes with transparency. I'm showing you guys the level of people that will go against genuality. Like, you see me out here showing you guys in the physical world that I operate the same, that I literally just want to unify, that I care about people, space where people can come to and just be at peace, just be in themselves, right? So on and so forth, right? But it's not the people. That's not the way people want to see me. No, they got people out here that's creating pages off of trying to make me look, but they ain't even in. They ain't even in this country. Don't know me from nothing. Don't know me from a can of paint. Don't know me from anything. Ain't even around, right? And when you finally go out and say, okay, I get it, even my family sees, and I know they keep track. I know they check up, see what I got going on, because I posted on Facebook, right? But my family want me to live this image so bad that's I'm a messed up character because they painted me out to be a messed up character already. That even when I call them and tell I'm doing some great stuff, I want y'all to be a part of it. Nope. They'd rather prey on it failing. And I get it. I get why society is preying on my failure. But sometimes I don't get why my own family is preying on my failure. And then when I say, you know what, I'll go out there and I'll build my own family. I'll just build a spiritual family, right? Start trying to build a spiritual family on Discord, trying to build this, spiritual family through social media, however you want to look at it. Even that's difficult. Why? Because you have all these carnal minded people that just thrives on negativity and evil, that they're going to come and get into your collective and then try to destroy your collective from the inside, place all of these negative people in there. Everything leads to sexual innuendos. Everything leads to some type of compromise. Everything leads to some type of way for them to scam or scheme off of you. If they see you building, if they see people gathering around you, they start, oh, why he getting numbers? Why is his numbers going up? I've been over on YouTube for 10 years and I only got 1,000 subscribers. Why he got so, he must be doing this. He must be do. Y'all do the same thing over and over again. Y'all repeat the same thing over and over again. I just can't figure out why, you know? Hmm. I would like to try something different. I would like to try unity, you know? I've been caught up in this divisive division world for so long. I don't even know what we're dividing from. I don't even know why everybody keeps screaming separate, separate, separate. Like a damn song or something, you know? Everybody keeps screaming separate, separate. What are we separating from? What are we scared of? Let me see what unite. Let me see what unity look like first. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what that looks like first before I decide that I want to just separate from something. Before I decide I want to go to war, let me see what peace look like.
Cause I'm for you, and you're for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must be heaven sent. Thought I was living life, then I met you. Feelings cut like a knife, could not forget you. Everything that I thought I knew was wrong. Who'd have known I missed out on love for so long? In that moment, it was clear. If heaven is in your mind, you must be heaven sent. If heaven is a bind, you must be heaven sent. Cause I'm for you, and you for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must I thought I had the perfect plans, balancing total peace and all of life's demands. Never knew that I planned for a life so fake. Thank God that now I'm wide awake. In this moment, it's crystal clear. If heaven is in your mind, heaven sent. You must be heaven sent. Cause I'm for you, and you're for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must be heaven sent. With you I'm achieving, now I'm believing we have something so real. With you I'm excited and I am reminded heaven's more than how you feel. If heaven is in your mind, you must be heaven sent.
Must be heaven
If
sent.
heaven is a bind, you must be heaven sent. Must be heaven sent. Cause I'm for you, and you're for me too. Yes, I need you, and you need me too. You must be heaven sent. Must be heaven sent.
Where is it? Where is it? Can't turn back now. I gotta remind y'all that we came too far to turn back now. Where's our other song at? Where's our Can't Turn Back Now song?
Why obsessed about surviving? Fighting over creation made for all to thrive in.
Yo, listen, we putting together something for the 11th, I want to say, the weekend of the 11th. But also, I'm trying to put together, some cooks, some people that can come out here and cook in the kitchen. I'm contacting some places in the area, and I'm trying to, see if some catering companies might want to come out. However you look at it, you know, it's like a regular thing. Like people just pull up and want to, hang out regularly. Like look for a place to just come and walk around, have a walking path, have a, peace of mind, make it an every weekend thing. People want to come out every weekend. And, you know, if I think we can get a regular flow like that of people, you know, get like a nice catering company to come out, cook in the kitchen, maybe sell plates from the kitchen. Get a nice like massage trailer put up to where as though people can go get massages. Get a nice like get the spiritual groups to come start coming out here regularly, booking events out here, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna start reaching out to different people like that and see if they want to set up like some type of weekend event, some type of so on and so forth, so that way we can just have a bunch of different events out here. um I know it's going to turn out great. I know it's going to turn out great. It's a little slow motion right now because I'm trying to gather as much funds as possible. I got to go out and try to get some rakes and some stuff to clean up out here. We got some people coming in that want to help with the cleanup, so I got to try to put together, get some rakes, some gloves, all of those things that you would need to do the yard work, so on and so forth out here. Some leaf rakes. We got to get these leaves, burn these leaves up out here, and, get the area looking nice and purty and everything like that. So I'm trying to crunch together some funds, put together some investors, and a bunch of other stuff, and we can just do without the negative right now. So I encourage anyone that is pushing positive, just put the positive out there. If you know anybody, yeah, slow and steady, slow and steady. We in there though. We in there. That's the most important part. We'll take the little small steps to get there, but you know no, the saga has to continue. you know but as we still take the steps to move forward with this process, it is going to be a lot more negative. I just want the people that's involved to come to the realization, like, this is not really about me. It's bigger than just me. Like, it's bigger than just a person. Like, I understand, like, tear the person down all you want. I don't live in my ego, I don't live in my pride, so I don't really care about the tear down of personas. My thing is more so about the collective. Collectively, we have to move forward with a greater level of understanding, a greater level of purpose, a greater level of passion, compassion, kindness towards one another. And, the language barriers we'll figure out along the way. Like, might not say everything right, might not do everything right, but the overall, goal is unity. So as long as you stay true to that, remind yourself that the overall goal is unity, operating on love, then I think, forgiveness will find you. You know what I mean? Like, I think as long as you just keep on reminding yourself, operating on love, operating on that, I think forgiveness will find you, and you'll become more forgiving of other people because you'll realize, okay, the operation is not about me. It's not about my feelings. It's about unity. Okay. I'm not saying like everybody is going to come along and want positive. No, 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 no. I know it's hard to find a way to let bygones be bygones, but we got to start loving the negative from a distance, still give them, love. Because a lot of people operate on negative and they don't know that it's a negative operation. Some people done made a negative operation look positive, you know? So you still gotta find a way to, I guess, give them credit in the sense to say, like, I know how it works, but love them from a distance, somebody, the thing about love is like they don't have to love you back. You know what I mean? It's like when you come to the realization, just because you say you friends with somebody doesn't mean they friends with you. I can say I got a lot of friends, but I can't say that those people consider me to be a friend, right? Someone says like, "Oh, yeah, that's my friend," or "That's my associate," or "That's..." Everybody's giving people different titles based on their mind. You got that person that you look at like a sister, but that person might not look at you like a sister. It doesn't take away how you see them, but you know, it hurts, but it doesn't take away how you see them. It's the same way with love. You don't have to get love back in order to give love. You just got to choose to keep on being loving, keep on giving love. You might not ever get it back. You know what I mean? You might not ever get love back, but you just choose to keep on being loving, keep on, you know what I mean? That's it. Like I know that, love is something that might not swing back around my way, but if I just keep on choosing to be loving, keep on choosing to be kind, like eventually like it's going to catch on. You know what I mean? Eventually it's going to catch on. When the world is not used to someone that operates on logic, it's hard to give someone logic when you're not used to what a logical operation is. If someone says like, "Hey, listen, I know that we live in a world where people mainly cater to other people's feelings and emotions, but I don't know how to cater to other people's feelings and emotions. I don't cater to my own feelings and emotions. I just operate on logic." When someone says that, people are like, "Yeah, right." Because they don't know what a logic operation is. Like, logically, trying to do something for the greater good of the collective, humanity, future generations, so on and so forth, logically, it would be a good thing, right? Feelings and emotions wise, it's like, why are you worried about other people? Why are you trying to do stuff for other people? You should just do for yourself and worry about yourself, right? That would be a feelings and emotions response, right? But logically, that don't make sense because everything tells us that we shouldn't have these selfish acts. Yet feelings and emotions will tell you to act selfish. I operate on logic. Like logically, what does it benefit for me to hate anybody? It benefits me to love people. Why? Because that shows that I'm loving myself, right? It benefits me to, show kindness for people. Why? Because that shows that kindness exists within inside myself. It benefits me to give people understanding. Why? Because I too seek different variations of understanding. So when I say like, logically you just do the things that's going to benefit you. It don't benefit me to walk around being an asshole. It don't benefit me walking around trying to cause different variations of frustration. That shit benefits somebody else, like a Jaguar right. It benefits Jaguar right to go around and create chaos. It benefits Danny Robinson to, pity pat off of the chaos that Jaguar is creating. You know, I didn't know that people was doing that I didn't know that was the operation over here, right? So when we came in and stood up for Bonnie and stood up for Selma and, you know, all of this other stuff, we was outside of knowing the operation over here. Like we didn't know the operation over here was what it was. So we came in, you know, thinking one way. Turns out that's not the operation over here. So we helping, think like these people are genuine or real people, Lady Letitia, you know. And I guess, we did meet some real people over here, but we always said that we didn't want to get caught up in that. Even though we were pointing that out, pointing out the scamming, pointing out the fact that, how someone been on here for 5 years and you still don't see what they're producing, right? Because the reason why you don't see what they're producing is because the stuff that they're actually putting their money in is not good fruit, right? They're investing in the addicts, the pimps, the hoes. You can hear that when Jaguar Wright talks. She talks about pimps. She talks about hoes. She talks about being on strip. She talks about the dealers. So that's what they're pouring their money into. So that's why you don't really see no, oh, we just bought some land, we just did this, we care about people. Like you don't see none of that coming out. Even with the 607 unks, they seen what Adam 22 was doing and decided like, okay, we could do the podcast thing like Adam 22. We'll just make it black, right? Same thing with Wolf Coochie. Wolf Coochie seen an idea around Jaguar and was like, oh, we can control, you know, 30% of the, community conscious by being talk this and talk that. And what he say? Oh, we're gonna own TMZ. It's gonna be TMZ Black, right? All of them is taking the ideas that already exist. They're not coming up with new ideas. They taking the ideas that's already existing, and then they're trying to, recreate the ideas that already exist and make it seem like it's theirs. That's not a creative mind. Alchemize a little bit, take what's there and make it better. You know what I mean? Alchemize with this stuff, right? Take streaming, for instance. Streaming and reality TV has become one now. That's where this IR streaming stuff is coming in, right? So if that's the case, why haven't anyone came up with a reality show about streamers, right? Battling it out with one another. Because on TikTok, you have TikTok battles, right? YouTube don't really have that. But if you incorporate what's going on streaming with like, real world, like you see how Real World and Road Rules have the Real World and Road Rule challenge. That shit lasted like 25 something years, if not longer, because I stopped watching it years ago. But remember Real World Road Rule challenge, right? Now you take that and you do that with these streamer companies. Why haven't they thought about that yet? Why? Because nobody's thinking about unity. Nobody's thinking about ways to unite, especially in the streaming world. Everybody's thinking about ways to beef because they're mimicking what's already there. Now, I'm reaching out to Kai Cenat and the AMP team. The reason why I'm reaching out to Kai Cenat and the AMP team is because I think that if I reach out to Kai Cenat and the AMP team and I get in touch with them, then I can tell them like, yo, Kai, this is a great idea. Why don't you put together a gaming show, where you bring in, excess amount of people from Twitch, excess amount of people from Kick, excess amount of people from TikTok, and excess amount of people from YouTube. And then they battle it out for different events. You know what I mean? To see like what platform holds the championship this year. And then next year you do the same thing. See what platform's going to take the championship. This gives the platforms, bragging rights for the whole year, you know what I mean? Until the next championship or however you do it, 6 months from now, however you do it. But I guarantee you it will take off. You just need the right people. You know what I mean? You just need the right people to represent TikTok, to represent YouTube, to represent Twitch, to represent Kick. But then you need all parties involved. I'm not a big enough streamer, of course, to get, this type of thing off the ground, but it would be a great idea, right? I will hope that if somebody steal this idea, at least let me be a part of the shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But think about it. You can bring them in and they can battle different events, right? So in the Twitch category, it would be like gaming, right? So everybody will have to try to see who win the game, right? In the TikTok category, it'd be like the TikTok battling thing, like how you TikTok battle, right? So then, this group will battle this group on TikTok to see who get the most donations or coins. And then when you do the Twitch battling, it'll be a gaming thing. When you do the Kick battling, it'll be whatever it is that Kick represents. When you do the YouTube battling, I guess it'll be beef, or whatever YouTube do, right? So each different category has its own style of battling, and then once you put like different categories inside those categories, now you got the different game types that you would play, right? So it's simple. It's real simple to put that together. But why haven't you seen any of these bigger content creators put something like that together? You know why? Because they ain't steal it off of a lower content creator yet. They ain't steal the idea off of a lower content creator yet. They ain't come across a content creator spitting out an idea that great. Yeah, on TikTok, they stole the TikTok houses from me and made it a bunch of negative TikTok houses and a bunch of, LGBTIQOA, all of that, right? But I had the idea to put together a TikTok house where streamers, joined and, so on and so forth. Now, my idea got bigger. I'm actually trying to get like a hotel and do like a streaming hotel where like you can come and actually meet streamers. Like, what I'm saying? Streamers are always there. And it's like, oh, you want to, you know what I mean? Check out this hotel if you're ever in the area where you can possibly meet different variations of streamers. That would be an attraction in itself. People will just come there just to stay there to see what streamers will pop up there. You get what I'm saying? Streamers are more popular than celebrities now. So if you build like a hotel around like streamers, then people are going to come to that hotel just to see what streamers are coming there, right? I'm trying to tell y'all, man, I got these great ideas. I just don't have the money to invest in my own ideas. People come across my page, they steal my ideas and they run with them, but they don't never come back and pay homage. They don't never come back and say, "Yo, I stole your idea. It was a great idea. Here's 50,000." You know what I'm saying? They ain't never gonna come back and do that. They gonna be like, "Nah, I ain't gonna never tell him I stole his idea because then he gonna try to sue me." I just want to see the idea this thing in the world, really. I would like a little bit of homage for it, but really I just want to come across the right people that's trying to invest. Cause I ran across Timberland, but I guess he chose not to invest because I was actually like pointing out some shit that he didn't like, but it didn't take away the idea from being great, you know what I mean? Just because he was in his feelings and emotions about the idea doesn't mean it wasn't a great idea, you know what I mean? And some of these people, they want to come up with some of the ideas that I came out with, but they can't still exist. So they trying to really get me out the way so they can come up with some of these ideas. You seen how fast they was trying to steal my ideas. You see how fast the knot was trying to be spiritual. You see how fast him and Blanca and he and Bill talking about something. I feel like I'm outside myself, watching myself go through this, and I can manifest this and manifest that and da 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 da. Get your. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, some of these characters are not real. You see how fast the knot stepped on my feet when Storm Monroe messaged me back? When Storm Monroe said that he was going to do the interview with me about the whole Jaguar thing, and whether it was fake on his platform or AI on his platform or whatever. When Storm Monroe sent me the email back saying he was going to do it, the Knot sent him an email ASAP, lying to him, telling him that I'm over here because TikTok is falling and I'm trying to, like, yo, it was instant. He hated on me instantly, right? When Sherelle and Perry started liking my presentations and started liking the stuff that I was pulling out on Jaguar, right? He got jealous then and decided to cause a grift between, that, right? When they was like, oh yeah, Ralph, we're gonna bring you up anytime we talk about Jaguar because you got all the fact, all the stuff, so on and so forth. We're gonna bring you up anytime we talk about Jaguar. He didn't like that. He didn't like that, and that's why he created the scenarios that he did. You know what I mean? Especially when they came up over here and the numbers started going up like that. He didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. We had 400, 500 people in here. He didn't like that. And when they said like, oh yeah, we're gonna create a page where you could come over and talk and da 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 da, he didn't like that. He didn't like that people was liking me. Jaguar came over here 4 times. He did not like that. Jaguar wasn't popping up on nobody was popping up on his page for him to go back and forth with. He was running out of stories. He didn't like that. And here, my thing about it was this. We could have all been better together. Like if me and him co-host and I still did my own lives, it would have been cool. I knew what you was coming with. I knew that you was coming with this chaos and all of that. That's why I was the calm, cool, collective one. And people started saying, oh, I like him better than you did not. Da, da, da. He started getting jealous of that. It started making him feel a certain type of way that they were putting that in the comment section. That wasn't my fault. It's his fault, right? Whether I'm hosting my own live or co-hosting with somebody else, I know how to play off of people. You know what I mean? I know how to play off of people. That's why he came with I came with logic. He came with how he felt and all this feeling and emotions, and I made it make sense. The combination was cool. But once again, you can't determine how people or how they want to go about it. He's seen like, oh shit, this dude can gain more traction in me. And that's where jealousy seeps in. That ain't my fault. Same thing with anybody else. Like, go do the whole, do a topic with this creator, do a topic with that creator. But I seen what it was. It was a lot of, you know, ego pushing. It was a lot of, people trying to prove other people wrong or tear other people concept or perception down. Man, listen, everybody has their opinion. If you're asking me my opinion, I'm gonna give my opinion. Whether you agree with my opinion or not, that's totally up to you. You have the right to disagree with my opinion. Do it change my opinion? No. But here's the problem. So many people argue on here to try to get someone else to see things their way instead of just accepting that we all can be seeing the same thing, looking at it differently. If you put a picture in front of us right now, if you throw the Mona Lisa in front of us right now, we all might be seeing the Mona Lisa, is looking at different parts. Some people might, look at her lips, her nose. Some people might look at her eyes. People might look at her forehead. You know what I mean? But nobody will notice that little town that's way in the back. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. I'm looking at that town that's way in the back thinking, damn, who lives there? What year was this? Nobody else is noticing that. Everybody else is captivated by Mona Lisa's smile. You know? I see things differently than a lot of people. I don't be trying to I really be trying to help people understand. Like, I might not always say the things that's needed to be said. I might not say nice things, but I promise you, Like everything is pure. Everything is like, genuine. You know what I mean? I genuinely want to see people doing better, people wanting better. And if I can get this kitchen off the ground and get people out here serving food, man, listen, I promise you, we're going to bring them in, you know, with my personality and a couple of cooks and a couple of people just coming out. I got to get out here and mingle with these North Carolinians. What they call themselves? North Carolinians, North Carolinians, whatever the hell they is. I'm trying to get y'all to find. I'm trying to get y'all around some space. I got to pull in some people from some other space. Pull up, get some RVs out here first. Of some people, get some people out here in the RVs first. You know what I'm saying? People out here in the RVs, living out here with me. I got to get some people out here living with me. Get some other RVs to pull up. Hold some good people. You know. That was a short amount of time that he did. He actually put it together, but that was a short amount of time. I want to put together something for Easter, but I want to get the main. I gotta send out a bunch of emails, try to get a bunch of phone calls out. You know what I mean? I gotta see if people want to come. Have events out here. I gotta look on Facebook, look to see who's trying to find places to have events, so on and so forth. I gotta promote, 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 promote. You hear me? Y'all can help. Promote where y'all at. Stop laughing at me and help me out with this shit. But it's okay though. To each his own. The investors, everybody that's going to see the potential in it, they're going to start popping up. I want to get like 2 vending machines out here. You know what I mean? I want to get like 2 vending machines out here. I'm not on my own. I got the Atlas Network. I got the Atlas Collective. You would know that if you was actually. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I got the Atlas Network. You know what I'm saying? We doing it. We're small, but we're mighty. We're small, but we're mighty. And then when we get bigger, we get bigger and we get bigger. But we slowly doing it. Try to get more people a part of it. It would have been better. You think about how big we would be right now if, they didn't tarnish our image. I mean, think about how big we'll be right now if they didn't tarnish our image and try to come again, create all these lies and do all of this weird shit. We would have been, what? We probably would have been 100 strong in the Discord. But everybody, so they had to show themselves. You can't say that we operating on, like, that's why they tore down the love is love thing. We going around, we saying love is love, but then you had people going around creating beefs with people that didn't even make sense. Just Risa and Darcy. I'm telling Darcy, stop responding to it. Even let Just Risa back into the Discord, right? The moment Just Risa get back into the Discord, Darcy start with her again, right? Now, how is that the operation of love is love? Do you get what I'm saying? So you made it seem like you was a part of the Atlas brand, so you can go around and do negative, and then we take the fall for the negative that you doing. It wasn't right of how they was operating in the Discord. None of Snoopy coming in, her husband trying to record, right? It was an open Discord. secret knock that you had to do to get in or nothing. They act like they infiltrated, Fort Knox or some shit. They act like they broke into, Area 51. Recordings. We seen the aliens. We know. Get out of here. You know? So it was a lot of stuff that was happening in that time that was like it put a different it put us in a whole different spin of directions, you know. I would like for us to get back into that, love is love concept and continue operating with unity, and continue building a discord and continue to, just let other people be them. People gonna say what they're gonna say, but that's what they make and that type of paperwork for. Once like the cease and desist start going out, once real people start, oh snap, this person, that person, but right now just operate with peace, operate with unity, operate with love. Like that's all we got to do. They see what it is, they know what it's about to get back to, they know we about to get back to the teaching, the learning and the knowledge. That's why we created that's why we went on a journey to find the physical place where people can come out to, so we can bring them the knowledge, through campfires, through sitting and meditating, through so on and so forth. So we right where we need to be. And the right people gonna come along and invest, you know? That's all it is. They see that. They like, oh, where this? They thought that we was done up. They thought we were done. Oh yeah, we got him up out of here. Da 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 da. Yeah, he's not in this sector anymore. We never was in that sector. We never wanted to be in that sector. You know? That's why it was easy for us to leave that alone for 8 months or whatever. As soon as we come back, now they want to come back with these pages. Now Vampy want to jump back out. Now this person want to jump back out. Now that person want to jump. So what? It doesn't make sense. That means you're out to prove something that cannot be proved. You're creating these lies and these turning out to be true. And now y'all, why? I didn't create the lies that y'all spilling out. So why y'all mad about the lies that y'all, you know? Now y'all gotta eat that. Y'all gotta eat those lies. Y'all made people out to be squatters. Y'all said people was, doing this, doing that. Now y'all gotta eat them lies. I didn't tell y'all to lie on me. Y'all decided to do. Why should I be upset that y'all decided to lie on me? And then all y'all try to go to other pages and talk shit and then pop back up like, why you saying stuff about me? Well, why was you saying stuff about me while I was absent? Why didn't you think that these things that you doesn't make sense? You think because I was out of sight, I was out of mind. No. I might have been out of sight, but I wasn't out of mind. Y'all just operate weird. Just go on people's pages and say whatever's pleasing to the host just to be a. That's not how the Atlas family works. That's not how we move. It's unity over everything. It's unanimous. Love over everything. Y'all want to try to get around me, and then when y'all not around me, be like, yeah, that dude is weird, and that dude is this, and okay, don't come around me no more then. Then when I pop back up, y'all want to pop back up and try to act like we. How? How did we become cool? Y'all just said all of this stuff. I forgive you, but we ain't gonna forget it. Problem is, y'all thought y'all can rewrite my history right in front of me while I'm still here. Yeah, like they just don't want to admit that. Like they just don't want to admit, like, you know, that's it. They just don't want to admit, like, damn, you got cool vibe. You know, I like being in your presence. I like, you know what I mean? They don't want to admit that. They'd rather go around and spread hate, you know? Just come on back. Come on back. Y'all know y'all want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Snoopy, we could teach you a better operation. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to put your skills together for dark work. You know what I'm saying? You know, Magic, come on back. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to put your works together for negative. You could do it for positive. You know, it's still gonna turn out great if you believe in yourself. You know, yeah. Jaguar, just stop now. Just, you know what I'm saying? Let this be the summer of peace. You know, the spring equinox. You know what I mean? Put the pride and the ego to the side. Let this be the summer of peace. Everybody do what they can to unite. You know what I'm saying? White, black, indifference. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you can. World do when we do that. You know, see what happens when we just unite, when we just start looking out for each other. You know what I'm saying? They gonna go crazy because the economy's gonna go down, but we gonna be straight because we looking out for each other. You feel me? The people is gonna be straight. The numbers might go down. What they got going on might go down, but the people gonna be straight if we unite. The universe is giving it back to the people. All we got to do is realize that it's being given back to us and unify. That's it. You know what I'm saying? All we gotta do is realize, like, oh snap, we in charge. Yeah, we in charge. Your ass is in charge. Yeah. Under the Aquarius sky, you're that's in charge. Uranus is your ass. You know what I'm saying? Your ass is in charge. Ain't that ironic? And they say God didn't have a sense of humor. I think it's funny that in the time of water, he put your ass in charge. I think that is funny that your ass is in charge during a time of water. And most people don't even use water to wipe their ass. That's funny. That is funny to me. People running around with shit stains in their drawers right now because they don't use a little bit of water to wipe their ass. That is funny. Mm. In the time of the Aquarius sky, Uranus is in charge. That is funny. God don't got a sense of humor. What? God got a hell of a sense of humor. And you can't swim. Ain't that funny? That the is the people that's getting knowledge from the light, and people that's getting enlightened is the copper colored people that can't even swim. In the time of Aquarius, we ruling and can't even swim. Damn. That's funnier when you think about it. You mean to tell me the rulers of this sky can't swim and we're in the Aquarius sky? That's funny. The duality is funny. This is a funny planet. I know. Put the people that can't swim in charge during the time of water. Oh shit. Oh shit. Aquarius sky, where all things will be revealed. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. I gotta walk out here, feed these dogs a bunch of other stuff. Hey, namaste, ashe, salutation, shalom. Remember, one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. You know, if nobody told you that they love you today, let me be the first, not the last, to tell you that I love you. And replay gang, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? To all the members of the Atlas Network that's a part of YouTube, you know, y'all know who y'all are. You got, you know, Imani, Shar, Amy. I don't know if voting a part of it. I don't be seeing her in the Discord like that. So maybe she's still debating. Who else? Trina over here that's in the Discord. Who else I be seeing in the Discord? I don't know. The activity in the Discord kind of slowed down for a little bit right now, but you know, as I see more activity, I'll give more shout outs. Who else is in the Discord? Gotta get more activity to the Discord. All right, love and light to everybody.